time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, popped on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, and let's try your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris. I don't know, man. I'm Chris.
And this morning we watched King of the Hill. I was trying to associate that voice that you just made with King of the Hill, but I think you just made a weird noise.
King of the Hill, Bobby. And we're doing this one for Christopher 1295 in memory of his dad, Rob, that passed away recently. And we kind of mentioned at the end of last episode. So our hearts, our minds, and other body parts go out to you and your family, Christopher 1295. And we hope that you enjoy this episode and have a good time with it.
Yeah, I hope you had as good a time with it as we did. And I'm a longtime viewer of this show, so it was great for me to step back into it. But Chris, this is one of your first times, huh?
Fairly. I mean, I've seen a little bit of it here and there, but I don't think I've ever really sat down and watched a lot of it. I've caught it, on and off, but I'll get into that in that first episode. But there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know about this show that I thought I did. So there.
Well, I think something also to point out ahead of time is that this could make me cry. I don't know, but there's a lot.
It should. It should make you cry.
There's a lot of situations that are very centered around father-son dynamics, and then me associating that in my head with Christopher 1295 situation made me really think deeply into it and kind of start tearing up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
dude, I was choking up the last episode when we were just talking about doing it. We hadn't even watched it yet, and I was choking up. Your editing helped me a little bit not sound like I'm blubbering.
Just a little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
So first off, thanks Christopher 1295 for bringing this up.
Yes, definitely.
So the show King of the Hill aired from 1997 to 2010, created by Mike Judge and Greg Daniels, produced by 3 Arts Entertainment, Deedle D Productions, Judgmental Films, and 20th Century Fox Television. Ran for 13 seasons, 259 episodes, all of which I've seen, by the way, on the Fox network.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. And for a short synopsis written by Tyler Smith, a straight-laced propane salesman in Arlen, Texas tries to deal with the wacky antics of his family and friends while also trying to keep his son in line. Basically.
Is Arlen, Texas a real place? Or is that just for the
No,
show?
it is not. Yeah, Arlen, Texas and Heimlich County are both not real places.
But is there an Arlington, Texas?
There's an Arlington, Texas, and there's a Garland, Texas. So it's probably a mixture of those two things. Yeah.
I see. Okay, so that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And at what age were you forced to do all this to become a legal Texan that you had to sit down and watch all of this?
I would have been, I think, 12 when this first came out. So I think I just started watching it like right away. And just over the years, I just caught an episode here and there. And I know once Shaddai and I started watching it, we just like blazed through it all.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
because
so good.
She's also a Texan. So this is like part of like, when you're a kid and they make you stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance, when you're in Texas, you have to watch all of King of the Hill.
Right, that's part of the Texas anthem. It's like, I pledge allegiance to King of the Hill and the United States of America, but King of the Hill first, then United States.
I pledge allegiance to propane.
And propane accessories. Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm. So who are some of the actors who played in this show?
So Hank Hill and Boomhauer were both voiced by Mike Judge, who you should know because he was the creator and voices of Beavis and Butthead, which was a very, very long-running thing on MTV, one of MTV's probably most famous things that they're known for. He was also the director of Office Space and Idiocracy, both really cool kind of cult classic comedies now. Voice of Peggy Hill was provided by Kathy Najimy, and she is probably most known for her live action roles, such as playing Mary Sanderson from Hocus Pocus, one of the Sanderson sisters in one of the greatest Halloween movies of all time that is still suitable for full families. She's also played Sister Mary Patrick in Sister Act 1 and 2. One of the best nun movies of all time. And and then she plays the character of Wendy Keegan in the hit series Veep, which I've seen one episode of, and it was kind of funny. I liked it. And I know nothing about it other than that. The voice of Bobby Hill was provided by Pamela Adlon. Pamela has done a lot of voice acting, very long career. She's the voice of Dewey Duck from Quack Pack, Lucky from 101 Dalmatians, the series. If you didn't know it had a cartoon series, because I sure didn't.
Nope.
She was both Milo and the Debbies from the Oblongs, which is a show I love, and I'm excited to get to that one eventually because it's on our list. And then she also played in a lot of live action roles, most notably Marcy Runkle from Californication and Pamela in the show Louie. Luann Platter was voiced by Brittany Murphy, most famously known for being in lots of movies such as Clueless, 8 Mile, Sin City, Girl Interrupted, Just Married, and doing some voice acting in Happy Feet. Sadly passed away at age 32 in 2009. Can you believe it's been 10 years?
Wow.
That's crazy, man.
I know. That's so weird, too.
It feels like it's only been a few years. It's weird to me. We're older than she ever got. How strange is that?
Man.
The voice of Dale Gribble was provided by Johnny Hardwick, who strangely hasn't really done much else, which is sad because his voice is hilarious. The character of Bill Dauterive was voiced by Stephen Root. I was not sure who this was until I looked it up and saw his picture, and I was like, this is awesome. Stephen Root played Milton from Office Space. You know, you my stapler guy, that guy.
Yeah.
Who burned the whole place down. He's my favorite character in that whole movie. He was Gordon in Dodgeball. He plays Monroe in Barry, which if you have not seen Barry on HBO, please watch it. Stars Bill Hader. It is hilarious. It is it's just such a cool story. It is a hitman who wants to be an actor. And that's just fun. And then also he plays the character of Hawthorne Abinson in The Man in the High Castle, which is also a really great show for different reasons. And that is our main cast.
Stephen Root's also in Get Out.
Oh, he wasn't Get Out. He was the blind guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that just blew my mind. Oh, thanks, Joseph.
Anytime I see him, I just think of Bill Dauterive, though. So when I see him in any movie or anything else, Bill comes to mind.
I always think of Milton from Office Space, but yeah. Oh, man, I didn't even place that and Get Out that was him. I'm messing up, man.
You're slipping.
I screwed up.
You're slipping.
I'm slipping.
So for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of King of the Hill cereal, the character of Hank Hill is based on a character in Beavis and Butthead from 93 by the name of Tom Anderson, who acted and talked exactly like Hank. Also, Hank's catchphrase of, "That boy ain't right," was from the episode of Beavis when they're at Burger World and Tom Anderson comments on Beavis saying, "That boy ain't right in the head." That character is like directly inspired by that. Again, like you said, also by Mike Judge.
Yeah, I still remember him in Beavis and Butthead Do America, which as dumb as the Beavis and Butthead show kind of is, like that movie's still really funny.
Yeah, it really was.
He's like, those boys were whacking in my shed.
The voice of Boomhauer is based on a message left on Mike Judge's telephone answering machine by an irate viewer of Beavis and Butthead.
That's great. I think it was one of my uncles because one of my uncles, my dad's brother-in-law sounds just like Boomhauer.
With the fast talking and everything?
Yeah, fast talking and mumbling, and you can never tell what he's saying. And you know what? If they ever did like a reboot of King of the Hill, you know Boomhauer would be a SoundCloud mumble rapper now. You know,
yeah.
all he needs is auto-tune. He gets auto-tune going and he's got a career.
I like how throughout the entire series, like they never say what Boomhauer's job is. You don't know what he does. It's kind of like a slight version of, I guess, a more toned down version of Quagmire in a way, except he's not a pilot. He's a Texas Ranger. And you don't learn that until the very last episode when you see his badge on the table.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
The town of Arlen, like I said, is in Heimlich County, Texas, and both are fictional. So this is something that I don't know if you know what Luby's is. Have you ever heard of Luby's Cafeteria?
Yes, I have heard. I probably heard this trivia from you before, just because you're so Texan. but I do think that this has to do with Luann's name, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Luann platter is a popular dish in Luby's Cafeteria that is meat, a roll, and a side for a low price. So
Have you been there? Have you had it?
I don't know if I've had the Luann platter specifically, but I've definitely been to Luby's in my past.
Okay, well, at least you've been there.
I've done my dad is so lazy sometimes that like when my stepmom was out, he would just take my sister and I to Luby's to do Thanksgivings. And because
Nice.
they have like all the Thanksgiving stuff there, and there are people who go there specifically for those holidays.
Well, we go to Burrito Union for Thanksgiving and just get Thanksgiving burritos. So,
That sounds worse somehow. I thought mine was terrible, but you just upped me.
But dude, they're delicious. It is a burrito that is filled with turkey and stuffing and gravy and like cranberry corn salsa and stuff.
You know, that actually does sound pretty good.
It's so good.
But real trashy, but good.
Yeah, it's trashy as hell, but like that's how I do it.
That's fair. So we'd already talked about memories of it. You had just seen a few episodes here and there, but you said even in episode 1 there are things you didn't know. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We can start talking about it. So we did it a little bit differently this time. Normally we do the first episode, highest rated episode, and a random listener chosen episode. But this time for Christopher 1295, we did the very first episode, and then we did 2 that were his dad's favorites. So I'm glad he chose these episodes.
Yeah, and like, you know, because we were worried we might tear up and stuff like that, so I came up with the solution to help me to try not to, which is that I took my shoes off and I placed one of them right in front of my microphone, and it smells so bad that it's just like if I start feeling emotions, all I gotta do is, and that's just gonna kill anything, and I'm gonna be dead inside. So I think I'll be all right.
So if anybody walks by and sees you crying, it'll just be stink tears, not
It's gonna be
emotion
stink.
tears.
Yeah, it's right here. Oh, yeah.
That's terrible.
That's gonna help.
So the first episode we watched for today's show was Pilot, season 1, episode 1. And in this one, a social worker mistakenly believes Hank is abusing Bobby. When Bobby finds out what is happening, he takes advantage of the situation.
I love how the coincidences that stack against Hank in this episode just keep building and building and building. Like I've never seen this episode, and this made me laugh really hard. Once the second one happens, where you know Bobby gets hit in the eye with the baseball, we know that. Then they're in the house and Bobby's bouncing the ball against the wall and it hits his mom in the head. Yeah. Oh my God. I started laughing. I'm like, oh no, I know where this is going.
Yeah. So yeah, Bobby's in Little League and he gets hit by the baseball. Or I like the conversation they had before when they're on the way to his game where Hank's telling him to do better than his best, do 110%. And then Peggy's kind of picking it apart and saying like, well, why doesn't it just do 112%? He's like, oh, well, yeah, that's even better. And then Bobby said something about doing 113%, and Peggy's like, no, that's an unlucky number.
Unlucky. Yeah. They're taking it way too far, and they're very serious about it. And Hank's just getting really frustrated with it. He's just like, okay, yeah, fine. Let's just move on.
Subtitle to the show King of the Hill would be Hank gets frustrated, because that's really the majority of the show.
Yeah. No, that's very fair. He is always super frustrated with everything, usually around Bobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Bobby really has a way of pressing his buttons. Not because Bobby's like an annoying kid or anything. He's just like a lot more capricious and
kind of an idiot.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has his moments, but it's definitely not, since Hank is so straight-laced, like he was like captain of the football team or whatever in high school, so he's still like basically carrying that high with him. Yeah. And he was raised by, Cotton Hill, his dad, who was just a really strict like war veteran. So Hank is this person who's so uptight, they cannot relate in the least. And that's where a lot of the heart comes in, actually, is seeing moments that they do, because they're so different for the majority of the episodes, and they are just so distant. Anytime that they connect just feels that much more special.
Yeah, that's like when the show is at its best, is when you're seeing that play out. And luckily, that was something that we got to see play out in a couple of the episodes that we watched for today. So that was really cool.
It was almost like this was planned to be this way because it seemed like it fit perfectly with the theme.
Yeah. And one good example of how they're so different, like being Hank and Bobby, is that like when Bobby's listening to, well, you think maybe he's listening to music on his like Walkman or something in his room, and Hank listens to it because he's just like, oh, I want to hear this new music. And it's just like, well, I think Bobby calls them the funny phone jerks. You know, it's a play off like the Jerky Boys or whatever. And he's just hearing fart sounds. And Hank is so appalled. He's like, these are nothing to be laughed at. They have a medical disorder.
Yeah.
But okay, something I did not know about this show. I did not know that Luann was not Bobby's sister or, Hank and Peggy's daughter. I had no idea. I always just, because I had never seen this episode, I always just thought that they were, Luann and Bobby were siblings.
Oh, no, she's Peggy's niece.
Right. Who, I guess just never leaves their house because her parents had problems.
Well, yeah, she has definite parental problems. I think like her dad's in jail and her mom, there's just so many issues. And so she's staying with the Hills really throughout the whole show. I mean, there's a point where she moves out and becomes like a neighbor, but that's for a completely different reason. So
okay,
we didn't even get anywhere near that part though, so we won't touch on it.
Another thing I didn't know, I knew that there was a character, Joseph, that was like supposed to be Native American, but I did not know much else about him. But it made me laugh out loud when we saw Dale talking to his wife, who totally blows him off and leaves the house to go for a drive with John Redcorn. And he's just like, you've been like hanging out with him for 12 years because he's supposedly helping her with her migraines or something. And he's like, 12 years, you should be over your headaches by now. And she's like, it takes time. So it wasn't that part that got me, but I'm like, oh, obviously she's like cheating on him. But it was when he introduces to the Child Protective Services agent, when he's going around talking to all the neighbors about Hank Hill and if he's abusive, when he's like, let me introduce you to my son, Joseph. And he comes out and it's a Native American kid. I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I just love the idea that Dale has no idea that this kid with a completely different colored skin is not his kid.
Yeah, that's
great.
It's a really funny aspect of the show because he like never finds out. And there are so many times that it becomes so obvious that anyone should understand it. And he'll even get to the point where he's like, wait a second. But then he'll just go off on a completely different tangent.
Yeah, I loved that joke. That was one of my favorite jokes I've seen in a long time in a cartoon.
And Joseph is like the only character who actually ages at all with the show. Like he actually becomes, or at least he hits puberty and becomes a teenager and has like a, his voice actor changed to one with a deeper voice. And he like grows a little mustache and stuff. So he's the only character that has any kind of difference throughout the series. Yeah,
Joseph was originally voiced by a woman. And then
he was voiced by Brittany Murphy also at first. I think.
Yeah. It was Brittany Murphy. And then they later got a male to voice him.
There's so many episodes that I want to show you, but
I might just have to start watching it. Rochelle loves that show, so maybe I got.
Was this her first time watching it also?
No, she has seen a lot of it. She loves the show.
Nice. We have so much to show you.
I know. So what's great, to make matters worse, when the CPS agent is there, Hank was really frustrated, having trouble with his car. The hood fell on him. He's all crabby. He comes into the house just yelling and stuff. And so, of course, the CPS agent is seeing Peggy with the bruise, Bobby with the bruise, him yelling. And then Hank just straight up loses his temper with him and is like yelling for him to get out of the house and stuff. But it turns out, because, people did say, he got hit in the eye with the baseball. So when he tells his boss about this investigation, the guy's like, well, did you ask the Little League coach? And he's like, oh, no. So, of course, the investigation gets called off and whatever. And the phone call gets placed to the Hill residence that's been called off. But Bobby took the call, and Bobby does not tell them that there is no more investigation. So Bobby then is just like, I have this power. And he starts acting out, being a jerk. And basically, Hank is doing his very best not to yell at Bobby. So Bobby's just getting away with doing all kinds of ridiculous stuff.
And Bobby's saying things like, loud is not allowed. He's just like repeating stuff he heard from the CPS agent.
I love it.
But he's doing the most annoying thing just to get on Hank's nerves because he knows he can get away with it. Like at one point he's got a stop sign on the ground. He's just like drilling into it for no reason.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But he's just drilling into a stop sign.
Yeah, so he
tears their fence down into their neighbor's yard.
Right. Yeah, he's just abusing the privileges he has now that he's not getting reprimanded. And he and Joseph are just laughing about it. They think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And eventually Peggy gets confronted or not confronted, but like the guy who fired or the guy who called off the investigation, I guess the CPS agent's boss, he comes by and like talks to Peggy in person. And she's like, oh, like no one ever told us that. Okay. So Bobby begs her not to tell Hank because he knows how mad he'll be since he's been just like messing with him this whole time. It kind of gets emotional there where he's talking about it's a way that I can make him love me even when I screw up. And that's where it's like, oh man, it's starting to hit towards the heart.
Yeah. Man. And then that's like, that's what this show is best at. And this is what back in the day, I didn't give King of the Hill much thought. And I think as a teenager or younger, because when this came out, we were pretty young. Like I just wouldn't have connected with it much, and I connect with it a lot as an adult because there is so much heart and stuff in it. And at the time, I had just assumed, oh, this is a Mike Judge cartoon. It's going to be like Beavis and Butthead. This is so different than Beavis and Butthead. Like it's on a completely different spectrum.
Yeah, this is almost like an animated version of Seinfeld where it's kind of a show about nothing except like living life, but so much happens in that. There's so much emotional root to it as well that I, again, like you were talking about, didn't appreciate it as a kid as much, but now that I'm an adult, like this is very reminiscent of the relationship that I had with my dad because he's very much the same way, like a sports power tools kind of guy and a very serious man. And I'm not that way. So we had kind of a strenuous relationship growing up or just really didn't communicate well. And I can see myself a lot in Bobby in that way and just trying to find a way to connect when there's not a really obvious one.
Yeah, I was kind of similar. My dad was very much outdoors, hunting, fishing, sports, loves football, loves golf, things like that. And I'm like, video games and comic books, and I'm a loser. But my dad has kind of slowly morphed more to my side of things, where now he loves Harry Potter movies and stuff. So at least there's that.
Yeah, I mean, my dad loves comic books too, and he introduced me to a lot of them, but that was a smaller part of his thing. So we had moments of connection and then just long strings of just like not speaking to each other really, or just not communicating. Sure. But anyway, with Hank and Bobby at the end, like when Peggy actually does tell him, Hank's trying to tell Bobby that he loves him no matter what he does, but it's so hard for him to say that because he's such a like cold man as far as outwardly expressing his emotions goes, that he just kind of has to like string it all like, I love you no matter what you do, just really fast, just to get it out. He's like, oh, all right,
I love
done.
Before that where he's struggling, he's just like, you family.
Yeah.
But the capstone of this whole episode, which is a great part, was like when they finally have that conversation, they're outside the house and Bobby's really happy about it, and they kind of do this little play fight thing where they're fake, like Hank's like fake punching at Bobby's tummy, like a dad would.
Right.
As this bus goes by with the CPS guy on it, and he's like, I knew it.
Oh, yeah, because they're shipping him back to LA. That's where he came from.
Yeah. And the CPS agent looks a lot like the guy from Office Space that destroys the copier.
Yep. To close out with this episode, after he says, I love you no matter what you do, Bobby asks if he's a disappointment, or he's like, I'm not a disappointment. And, Hank's telling him how he makes him proud and he's his boy. And that's when it's like really started punching me hard in the gut because I'm like, oh, I wish my dad would have this talk with me.
Oh,
I was feeling it, man. I was feeling it.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is a great show for dads and sons, honestly.
Anybody who's disconnected with your father for whatever reason, which I think is a lot of people, watch this show. Yeah. So the second episode we watched for today's show was Meet the Propaniacs, season 4, episode 20. And again, this was one requested by Christopher 1295 because it was one of his dad's favorites.
Yeah. And this was a weird one. Oh, boy.
Yeah, so Bobby forms a comedy group called the Propaniacs who go around to several Strickland propane locations with their propane-centered skits.
Oh, my God.
This is another one that had like a really strong close, but I mean, we'll get there, but I just want to bring that up, like a really strong father-son connection close.
I like that this one was a lot more subtle, too, in that way.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Not even directly saying it, but you saw it. And that's something I probably wouldn't have even noticed as a kid, but we'll get there. So it's summer vacation and Bobby wants to go to theater camp because he's a theater kid. Like he just is that. He's a very expressive young man. And Hank's just like, no. I want you to come work at Strickland with me, Strickland Propane, and, be like the tank cleaner boy or whatever it is. Just do a man's productive job kind of situation.
Yeah, that's one thing that Hank I think really drives Hank and why he puts a lot of pressure on Bobby is because he wants Bobby to be a man in the way that he sees what being a man is, which it's basically like he's trying to make Bobby into himself. And Bobby's just wired the complete opposite way. So it's very hard. But he takes Bobby to work. At one point, they're doing like a weenie roast, kind of as like a community event / sales event for their grills. And there's this very specific grill everybody's there and wants to buy, especially Dale. And they did not get enough shipments of that one. So Dale starts basically a riot. It's just because he's such a great friend. And everybody's getting angry. Bobby's trying to calm them down by distracting them. So what he does is he gets a little miniature propane tank, puts it on his head, starts dancing around with his shirt up and his belly hanging out, calling himself the Great Gas Head. And everybody's like starts laughing and stuff. And Hank seems apprehensive at first, but he ends up really laughing and loving it. I think mainly because it's very propane centered.
Yeah. And also, I guess, because it was getting everybody's mind off of the problem and reassuring everyone that the tanks or that the grills were coming. But you saw Peggy's immediate reaction to it.
She was like,
oh, please don't make fun of propane, because she knows like that would be one of Hank's huge triggers. So she was kind of on the fence about it or really worried about the outcome. And to see Hank laugh over it was very reassuring for everyone.
And this turns into like this whole big thing where they basically create a comedy troupe with different skits and things like Saturday Night Lifestyle, all centered around propane and propane accessories. And they call themselves the Propaniacs. And this is Bobby, Luann, Joe Jack, who is one of the workers there. Yeah. I love Joe Jack too. He was great. And then Donna from accounting, as she's always referred to. I just thought that was great. It's really funny, especially because like what's interesting in this fun little weird bonding moment way, Bobby is having Hank explain pretty much everything about propane to him to help Bobby understand how to write some new material, new jokes and things like that. And he's bouncing things off Hank, and Hank is laughing and just loving it, just eating it up.
Yeah, because it's kind of the perfect mixture of their two passions, and that way both of them are happy. And so this is a great episode to express that connection on a way different level than normal.
Oh, and Dale is also part of the Propaniacs.
He's the keyboard guy.
Yeah, I love when he first demonstrates his skills with the keyboard, where they're all just, the four main guys are out there drinking beer like always. And Dale's trying to explain how he wants to be a part of the act and shows his skills, where Bill walks over to the cooler and Dale just plays this music to accompany it. And it was legitimately really funny.
So I don't know if in this episode they really expressed it much, but Joe Jack always calls people honey.
I didn't catch that.
Okay, see, maybe they didn't do it season 4, maybe it was a later thing, but like anytime he would talk to Hank, anybody, he's like, "What's going on, honey?" Like he would always call people honey, and it was really funny hearing that from him. But yeah, I didn't see it in this episode at all, so that's why I wanted to bring it up, that's his thing, but it might not have been his thing yet.
In this episode, his line was, "Baby done a bad thing."
Which was great.
Yeah, there was a skit that required Joe Jack to dress up as a big baby, wearing a big diaper, things like that. And this is kind of where things take a turn for the worse, because they start performing at different Strickland locations, and then they're going to perform in front of the president of Strickland Propane and Charlie Fortner, and it's like a huge deal to Hank. Like this is like the equivalent of meeting the president of the United States, if that's a person that you don't actively dislike. And so he's super excited about it all, and everyone's kind of freaking out. And Joe Jack is getting super nervous about it, because as part of this, they're just like, "Oh, let's get him on stage. Let's have Joe Jack." One of the skits, he wears a cop uniform, and he's supposed to frisk a guy and find coal in his pockets and accuse him of using, like, a bad I don't know, gas techniques or some crap.
Bad grilling techniques.
Yeah.
Because like accuse him using like butane or charcoal.
Yeah, bad fuel. So he gets really nervous and starts drinking very heavily. And so he doesn't show up the day it happens. So Hank instead puts on the uniform, tries to get Charlie Fortner up, who does not want to be a part of it, but he gets him up anyway. And Hank's he's not getting it, and he's taking it a little too seriously, and like really is like frisking the dude, and feels that the dude's wearing an adult diaper when he frisks him, as Joe Jack shows up drunk out of his mind in the diaper, and then his diaper falls down, and oh my God, it's just a mess.
Well, Hank keeps going because the audience is loving it. The audience is laughing and stuff. So he's just like, keep playing along. Like, he doesn't get the cues from the president that he really wants him to stop.
Yes,
and then, Joe Jack makes it worse. And then, the cherry on top of this whole ordeal is when he comes out with the diaper on, and then Hank's feeling around his pockets and feels that he's wearing an adult diaper. And then it's like, oh God, because Charlie Fortner thinks that it was all planned out to make fun of him for wearing Depends.
Yes.
And I like when Hank is in his office, like talking to him, and then he's like, he just basically gives up and it's just like, "Sir, I wear diapers too." And then he's like, "Yeah, well then which brand is the most absorbent?" And he can't answer. And so he's like, "Get out."
I
also wanted to point out that the Propaniacs shirt was using the Beatles logo.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. But now I think about it, you're right. I can see it in my head.
But yeah, this was a hilarious episode.
It was good. Because Charlie Fortner was so embarrassed and he was just really angry about the whole thing, he banned them from performing at any more Strickland things. So at first they kind of thought, oh, well, I guess that means everything is off. But then, like, Bobby's really sad about it, and then just kind of like, this was this thing I loved, and you let him take it all away from me. So Hank kind of comes up with this idea of like, well, we're banned from doing it at Strickland, but that doesn't mean we're banned everywhere. So he sets up the ability for them to perform at the local mall, and they're performing in the food court. I like when they're about to start and Bobby's like, "Joe Jack, you sober?" And he's like, "I've had my coffee." Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines of this whole thing. Like, everybody in the food court, like, nobody's paying attention, or if they are, they're just like, what the hell is this? Like, they don't get it. They're not laughing. They're not entertained. They don't care. And Bobby is obviously, it's getting to him. And this is where the animators did a great job, not just the storytelling itself, but animating Bobby's facial expressions to know that he's obviously disappointed in what's happening.
Yeah.
But then he looks over and sees his dad off to the side, just laughing hysterically. Like, I mean, he is laughing more than he's probably ever laughed in the show. And then you see that subtle little smile anime on Bobby's face. And then he's obviously rejuvenated by seeing his dad laugh. And he wants to keep it going for his dad.
Well, yeah, he keeps going for his dad. And what's so great is that he actually turns to him to start performing specifically for him instead of the audience, since the audience doesn't care and they're not getting anything out of it. So he keeps the show going on just for that. And that's the moment that I seriously teared up because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, they know how to hit you so good. And it's the animation combined with just the tender moments. It's knowing, especially when you're coming from like my background with the show, where you know how like hard of a character Hank is, to see him, this might be the most that he's ever laughed in the show. And so to see that and then see Bobby's reaction to it, it's like you're feeling the same way. You're putting yourself in his shoes and you're kind of getting the same feeling out of it.
Yeah, it's like a huge moment. I mean, I'm just assuming, but I feel like it's probably a huge moment for the show, a huge moment for those two characters, especially like in juxtaposed to the first episode that we watched, where it was kind of like Hank doing something for Bobby by, kind of admitting to Bobby, I love you, stuff like that. In this one, it's kind of Bobby becomes uncomfortable with the situation, but he sees how much joy it brings his dad. So now Bobby's doing something for him.
Right. And the subtlety they bring to it, like we were talking about earlier, where they don't say anything, they don't tell you what's going on. You just kind of have to infer it based on the actions of these characters and the expressions that they have. And that's how it closes out the episode. And it kind of closes out with him joking and Hank laughing and with the little outro music as. And it's just so nice that it ended like that.
Yeah, it's a super strong moment for such a subtle bit of storytelling.
And like I could go on with just that part for a while and probably cry. But instead, I'm going to jump into the third episode to watch for today's show, which was The Sun Also Roses, season 7, episode 6. And this is the second one chosen by Christopher 1295, where Bobby ditches his towel manager responsibilities on the football team to work on growing his roses.
I'm going to sniff my shoe real quick. All right, I'm good. Woo, boy. All right. Yeah, this was kind of fun in that, like, I like the idea at the beginning of this where you kind of see a weird flip with Hank and Dale, in that Hank was a former, like quarterback and stuff, but Dale's quote unquote son, Joseph, is the one that actually on the football team, and Hank's kind of rooting for Joseph, while Dale, when Dale was that age, was the towel boy, the towel manager. And that's what Bobby ends up being. So Dale's kind of cheering for Bobby. And Hank does come around and is cheering for Bobby too, because Hank just doesn't, Hank kind of, I guess, resigns to the fact that Bobby's not going to be a football player.
Well, he's just happy that he's part of a team.
Yes.
And then he's excited the coach is yelling at him because it makes him feel more like he's part of the team. It's this whole, like, it's a whole pride thing for Hank. Just want him to be on the football team like he was.
And I just like how he isn't cheering at first just because he doesn't understand. But as Dale explains the nuances of clean jock straps and towels and such, Hank really gets into the idea of Bobby having this responsibility as a good towel boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that.
But Bobby is just disappointed by the whole thing. Like, they're going to go get Whataburger, a Texas local place. But the coach is like, but Bobby, you got to stay behind and clean the jock straps or whatever.
He wants the jock straps to be as clean as a surgeon's mask.
Yeah.
Dude, this made me crave Whataburger, though. And I was like, dang, like, how do I get Joseph to, like, pack some up and cooler? And
I've been having these Whataburger chicken fajita tacos.
Sounds
they're so good. Like I had never really had them before, but this year I started eating them and they're amazing. They might be my favorite chicken tacos.
Dang. All right. Well, next time I'm down, like we'll go there like a few times. I gotta try it all.
Literally walking distance from my place, so we should.
And I am gonna say this, and maybe it's controversial. I've been to Texas and I lived in Nevada, and I can say I think Whataburger is better than In-N-Out. So
Oh,
at me.
Okay, yeah. For me, that's obvious. But I guess people out of state who have never had Whataburger might doubt you. But once they try it, their minds will be changed.
Bring it, guys. Bring it.
Add us both. Add us. Come on, bring it.
Whataburger's way better.
Way better.
Bobby runs into their neighbor. Is it Mrs. Khan?
No, well, her name's Min, and their last name is Supanusenphone.
Oh, well, yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, Khan is the dad. Connie is the daughter, who is also Bobby's girlfriend. Yeah.
He runs into Connie's mom, who's tending roses and stuff, and Bobby's kind of intrigued. I like, though, that she said, I started growing roses after the doctor cut off my Xanax.
Yeah.
That was a great little, only the adults in the room are going to get it.
Right.
But that was kind of fun. But Bobby got really interested in it. She gave him a rose and stuff. And so he becomes infatuated with this idea of growing roses. And that slowly starts taking over his mind and thoughts and his time to the point where he misses a game because he had gone to a head shop. He met these dudes working there that were super baked and was getting basically like equipment so he could grow roses inside his bedroom, like in his closet, so that his dad won't find out.
Yeah. First of all, when he goes to get the roses, this is one of my favorite parts of this episode, or at least it made me laugh the most, where he's getting the roses from some kind of department store because this guy who's from the entertainment section or something is out there selling him the roses. Bobby's just like, are these sticks going to turn into roses? And he's just like, I don't know. I'm from whatever section. And the tag says roses on him. So he sells them to him. But then he's like, is there a way I can give this sunlight without it being outside? Because he doesn't want his dad to find out that he's growing roses. He wants to do this all in his closet. And he's like, well, I do know a place, but it's a different store from where we are now. And he's like, well, I have a bike. And the guy's like, oh, well, that changes everything. The delivery of that to me just cracked me up so much.
Yeah.
Because of his instant reaction to it. But anyway, what he does is he ends up sending him to a smoke shop, like stems and seeds, like you know what kind of smoke shop.
Oh, yeah.
They've got bongs and everything. So he can get an indoor UV light to help grow the roses in his closet.
Yeah. And every time somebody comes into that store, they always think it's some sort of cop. Like they were like, is that a cop? Like looking at Bobby.
They have to give him the code word and say, such and such says I'm cool. He's like, all right, he's cool.
Yeah, that was great. Because, I like the book that they gave him too, and really changed Bobby's mind and was helped Bobby focus on growing roses, which was, it had like Buddha on the front and said, that was Zen, this is Tao.
Well, it's like Lao Tzu's guide to whatever, inner peace or something.
It made me giggle at the pun. It was punny. That was Zen, this is Tao.
Right.
Yeah, Devin would hate this.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, the football team, the meanwhile, is losing the game because they're all muddy. They can't see anything. They're schlepping around everywhere. I just love the idea that they actually lost the game because Bobby wasn't there to provide clean towels.
Well, yeah, it shows the importance of the towel manager.
I know. So Hank's pretty pissed off. He comes home and he catches Bobby in his closet growing the roses and stuff, and he's not very pleased about it. But when I guess he kind of realizes that this is something that Bobby's actually into, and he finds out that there is a competitive piece to it because he wants to enter a competition. That's when Hank kind of gets on board because he's just like, oh, well, as long as he's being competitive about something, because that's kind of a mark of a man in Hank's eyes is being competitive and achieving something and being the best at whatever it is that you do. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna enter you in the competition and you can grow the roses, but yeah, you got to keep growing them inside. I love when he's like, you have to promise not to squeal like a girl, but then when he tells him, he squeals just like a girl.
He's like, all right, calm down. Yeah,
it was just a straight up squee. But my favorite part of this whole episode is when Hank goes to that store, to that gardening section, and like the old lady's being kind of mean to him. And then he meets that big dude and they're talking about it. The big guy voiced by Michael Clark Duncan. Just FYI.
Oh, nice.
That's why he's got that deep voice. It sounds very familiar. that guy is just, he's taking it so seriously and like gets really angry with Hank and is like intimidating the crap out of him.
Well,
That
because
was cracking me up.
when Hank tells him that it's a hobby for his son or something, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, why aren't you just getting your boy to do something like fun? Like, why are you bringing him into the world of like rose growing? And he
like,
basically tells him he's stealing his innocence.
Yeah, how dare you stealing that boy's innocence?
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets so angry. I loved that whole thing too. That was the best. I just love the idea of this big, burly, scary dude who knows everything about roses.
And so it turns into a situation where, they need like better lighting and stuff. And so to get that though, to afford it, it's going to be like $2,000 or something. So they have to go back to the smoke shop. And then like Hank makes a deal with them like, hey, you guys can just like sponsor us and, we'll wear your shirts and it'll be free advertising, because obviously Hank doesn't understand what this shop actually is either.
Nope.
And then you see the guys reacting to Hank as he's talking, and you can tell they've already had some because they're just kind of like hazy and like, oh man, we need more of this dude. So they decide to sponsor him.
They are so high. I love it. That was
great. So the rest of the episode is kind of just Hank and Bobby working together to try to grow the roses, but it turns into Hank really sort of taking over, and since he has the rule book and Bobby's got the whole like the Lao Tzu's book of that was then, this is, what is it? This is Tao.
Yeah.
He's got that book, and they're coming from, again, completely different directions with it, where Bobby thinks just like caring for them and like speaking kindly to them and stuff will help them grow. And Hank is like, well, this is what the rules say. So it starts to lean more towards him doing the work and Bobby getting less and less of a chance to actually participate. That is also sort of where they come to the actual rose competition, and they have like what by the books is considered like the perfect rose.
Yeah.
And Bobby and Hank are disagreeing on the way that it's facing the audience. Like Hank wants it to face forward because that's the way it is in the book. And Bobby's like, well, if we turn it this way, it'll look like the leaf's kind of waving at the audience.
Such a Bobby thing to say.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And in that disagreement, like Bobby's turning it and Hank keeps trying to turn it back, and it starts to tilt over and like just has like the shortest fall over, but it bruises one of the petals, I think.
Yeah.
And so they have to remove or Hank has to do like emergency surgery on it and remove one of the inner petals to make it presentable. Then the judge comes over and basically says like, if that petal wouldn't have been removed, it would have been the perfect rose. But Bobby's also like this whole time talking about wabi-sabi, which is essentially perfect imperfections in something, and how like it needs to like have a slight lean to it or this and that. And Hank wants it to stand straight up because that's what a perfect rose does. And so it's this whole competition between perfection as perceived by Hank and perfection as perceived by Bobby, which is a completely different thing.
Yeah. I really, really like that quote that Bobby says when he's talking about wabi-sabi, where he just says, sometimes it's the small imperfections that make you love something more.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that quote. And I don't know, that just really, really stuck with me. And I think that that's a really good quote to kind of help sum up the show a little bit, and at least the kind of relationship that Hank and Bobby have. Because they both have their own little imperfections, but they love each other kind of even more for it. But it does take them time to figure that out each time.
And after they lose this competition for that one bruised petal or one removed petal, Hank ends up, because he knows how much it means to Bobby still, ends up planting the roses in their actual garden. He's telling Bobby that Bobby's talking to him, and then he's telling Bobby, basically, you've got a lot of wabi-sabi. Like Bobby was saying, the small imperfections that make you love something more. So that's, again, like a slight nod to Hank's love for him, even though he does have a lot of small, what he perceives as imperfections.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was a really sweet moment as well. They're all sweet.
It.
It's such a sweet show.
It's such a sweet show.
if you're watching this thinking it's just a straight comedy or something, like, no, like, watch it for the emotion because you're gonna get it. It's gonna hit you somehow.
In the face.
In the gut, in the face.
Yeah, everywhere.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we send our interkins down to Arlen, Texas to show everyone just how wabi-sabi they are, then see what they thought of King of the Hill.
At first, I thought the show was just for a bunch of redneck losers, but I kind of like it because it's really funny, and because Bobby is a lot like me. Plus, there's a lot of propane, which I use to help melt my G.I. Joes. So I gave this cartoon 5 bowls of Whataburger-flavored cereal out of 5.
What's not to like about this show? The city of Arlen is full of diverse and lovable characters, the dialogue and relationships feel very authentic, and Bobby Hill is definitely my spirit animal. For a show that ran 13 seasons, you'd think there would have been some low points, but this one, in a very Texas-like fashion, feels like it just kept getting better the bigger it got. Overall, I'd give King of the Hill 5 big bowls of propane and propane accessory cereal out of 5, and I highly recommend you add this show to your watch list.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe we would have benefited if we had watched this with our fathers back in the day.
You know what? I was thinking that. Yeah, like I feel like my dad could have learned a lot from the relationship between Hank and Bobby. And then he could have seen like, oh, so you're a Bobby type kid.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, I feel like maybe expectations would have been lowered 100%. And that would have been in my favor.
100%. Yeah.
I know we talked a whole lot about this show, but do you have anything further you want to say? Any closing comments before we get out?
For me, watching this show, not only is it a great show with awesome characters and just hilarious lines, but it's also a way for me to reflect on my relationship with my own father. And for that reason, I think it feels a lot more special. So when you're coming in and watching this, I want you to look at it, as weird as it sounds, from an emotional standpoint. And I think you'll get a lot more out of it than you bargained for.
Yeah, it is a really fun show. And there's just a mild mix of adult humor along with humor that's suitable for a whole family to sit down and watch for some really good laughs. And what I really like is at its core, it's a show about family and learning what it means to love and support your family, but intertwined beneath a lot of jokes and relatable Southern redneck humor about propane and propane accessories. Yeah, it's just, it has so much heart to it and it is way more than I ever gave it credit for or had any inkling. And no idea how deep this show got. It is not to be compared with other things that Mike Judge has done. This just has it all. So it is no stretch to call King of the Hill a classic series.
Right. And so thank you so much, Christopher 1295, for suggesting this to us. I hope that we did it justice in your eyes.
Yeah, man.
So thank you, Christopher 1295, for bringing this show back up to us. I hope we did it justice. And I also hope that this show continues to bring you comfort as something that you and your dad enjoyed together.
Yeah, man. Hang on, gotta sniff the shoe. Oh,
we both got to sniff shoes.
It gets worse every time.
Oh, man. Why am I cutting onions in here at the same time? Why?
Oh, God. Okay.
Oh.
Woo. Yep. Let's move on.
Okay. Well, listeners, looks like a milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
Hey Arnold, suggested via YouTube by Bean Toon, and also via Twitch by Whippet Devo and Nickel Force.
Wow, that's a lot of suggestions.
We had a lot of people that have been waiting for us to do this one, and we are doing it. So you're welcome, everyone. You're welcome.
Move it, football head. That's what I remember from Hey Arnold.
Yeah. My favorite was the guy that would just like appear behind Helga all the time, and he's like,
I don't remember that. I don't.
The guy with the glasses, and he's just always had the gross, like breathing really heavy. Oh, I love him.
Maybe I tuned it out because that was me as a kid.
It was.
Oh. Well, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth,
a place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.